I'm Jen. I'm a psychotherapist, mom, and human who has lived through the messiness of life and learned a few things along the way. I teach this stuff. So I decided to create a podcast called The Authenticity Mindset, where we can talk about the truth, take action, and get inspired. Are you ready to join the community? Let's go. Hey, welcome to the Authenticity Mindset. I am Jenn Amar. I am your host. I am a psychotherapist and here to talk about fun, exciting things. I'm very excited today because today we are going to talk about a concept that has been, I think, transformative for me personally. I know it's very helpful for other folks that I talk to and help on a weekly basis. And that is the concept of how to grapple with people not totally knowing the truth, with not totally knowing your authentic self, with not totally knowing your authentic story. So we're going a little bit deeper today, okay? Is everyone ready? Are we ready to go deeper? Because we've been a little on the surface and we've been talking about exciting and helpful concepts, I think, but today's a little bit of a doozy, right? So, grab onto your car seats if you're driving or anything to be able to really consider what if no one actually does, in fact, know the truth? What if people are wrong about what your story is? What if they assume something and they make meaning out of something that they think is true about you, but isn't? What do we do then? Here at the Authenticity Mindset, I'm promoting expression of truth. I am promoting skills and tips and ways to dig into the program's beliefs, challenge them, change them, empower yourself, get to be to a place where you're setting boundaries and expressing yourself and saying it all and being proud about it and feeling empowered. And all of that is still totally true. And still, there will be people, there will be circumstances that you will come across in your life, and I'm sure you have already, where you will have to decide whether or not your voice and your truth can be shared in that space, or whether or not it's better to just walk away and let someone be wrong about you. Letting someone be wrong about what is true about you is so hard. It is so painful because all we want, all our spirit desires is for our truth to be free and our versions to be heard. And when it can be, it's awesome. It's empowering. Again, it's all the things that I promote and want you all to experience with this program and this podcast and what we're trying to create with this business is to be able to have an outlet and a support system where together we are honoring that truth. And so, what is this circumstance that's going to occur in life where not sharing your truth and letting people be wrong ultimately is still the empowered choice to make? Because that's a tough one, right? It's a tough one to consider. Well, if I let someone be wrong about me, then am I abandoning and betraying my truth by not arguing back, by not, getting in the wrestling ring and proving my point and doubling down? And, think about that for a second. You're going to ultimately have to be the one that decides when a circumstance warrants and is worth or is even possible to have that kind of an argument as to whether or not the person receiving your information can hear your voice, can hear the truth. And frankly, sometimes it's not possible. And sometimes being able to lean into that understanding and that truth that my story, my true experience is best kept with me because I can honor it and I can protect it and I can treasure it and I don't need someone else to hear it and know it in order for it to be true. I'm going to let you be wrong. I'm going to let you think what you want to think. I'm going to let you come up with a version of this story. I'm going to let you come up with your own narrative. I'm going to let you. I'm going to sit back and I'm going to stay quiet and I'm going to know the truth. Like, that's really hard. It's hard to not lean into the impulse of being right or wanting to like make sure everyone else knows you're right. Or just like, I know we talked a lot last week about surrendering and surrendering the negative self-talk. And this is like a form of surrender too, just in a little bit of a different way, which is I'm surrendering caring whether or not you know the truth. I'm surrendering caring whether or not you know the truth. And the you on the other side, I mean, like, right? In your life, in your relationships, in your professional experience. Like, I mean, we have to do this at work all the time, right? We can't just like reveal our truth and say everything we want to say to our bosses and to our colleagues, right? We have to sort of have a professional version of us that exists in the world that isn't necessarily heard and seen like as authentically as we would want to be. Like, we have to keep up that um, adult persona, and that's totally appropriate, especially in a professional environment. But I would actually encourage you to consider that you can do that in other environments as well. And again, it comes back to the role of boundaries, and it comes back to the influence of who you are being, and are you aligned with deserving of being that person in your own experience with yourself without needing the validation and affirmation of someone else? And are you willing to give it all that you've got to know the truth and have that be enough? It's such a powerful concept. And frankly, it's the bravest thing that I can see anyone do is to stand firmly, stoically, respectfully, in silence, knowing what's true and not needing to convince others. It's so brave. It takes so much courage and strength to not fight back, to not argue, to not prove your point. And I don't know if you've seen people who do this, right? Can you exist knowing your truth, having gone through this hard work, gone through this development of self, where you are honoring what's true for you, knowing who you are, and probably wanting to shout it from the rooftops, right? Probably wanting to share with everyone, hey, oh my gosh, I figured out who I am and who I'm not, and I've changed my ways and I've grown, and I want to promote all of this positivity to everybody. And that's great. And some people don't really want to receive it. Some people like the older version of you. Some people like a version of you that may have been more quiet, may have been weaker, may have been less emboldened, less empowered, less strong. And when we change and when we evolve into a more authentic version of ourselves, that can cause a lot of conflict in relationships. People don't like change. I mean, if we're talking about like the hardness of adulthood and having to do this work and change our own thought process and our own belief system, like that's hard enough. And then we got to deal with other people like coming on board with us. No, your job here in cultivating an authentic voice is not to convince the world around you. Your job is to just choose to show up honestly with yourself, get inspired by others who also want to do the same thing, and then decide, okay, where does this voice of mine belong? Does it have to be everywhere with everyone? What if some people don't like it? What if some people say, well, I like the older version of you? Right? This happens in couples all the time. Like somebody loses a lot of weight or, gets super buff and they're like, oh, I kind of miss our old pizza nights. Can you change and go back? That's a conflict that people have to grapple with when someone chooses to change and the other person is more comfortable with the way that things were. So, can you let them be wrong about their perception of you and what they want for you? And can you be okay with holding the truth and not over explaining yourself, not justifying yourself, not, calling and reporting out and trying to, hey, can you talk to so and so? Can you convince them that it's good that I'm like this now? Right? Not engaging in any of that. Just choosing a path that's aligned with what you want, being inspired by that connection to yourself, and not needing to explain it to others. It's powerful. It's powerful, powerful stuff. David Goggins says that you have to be willing to give up everything and you have to give it all and give everything that you have. Do you guys know David Goggins? I watched him speak last summer. Um, Super cool, inspiring guy. A little tough, a little rough around the edges, right? Probably not everyone he's not everyone's cup of tea, but he's an inspirational speaker. He's written a couple books. He's a former multiple times over, I think, Navy SEAL. And so, he talks about this concept of you have to give it all. You have to give everything that you have to whatever your mission and your drive is. And, the mission, the drive that we're talking about here is honoring your true self and allowing that voice to live freely. You have to give that your all. You have to have your own back with everything that you have, even the criticism and the wrongness of other people thinking that they know what's true about you and not. You have to be able to tolerate that criticism and to be able to stand in the face of it and say, it's okay that I think you're wrong. It's okay that you think you're right. It's okay because I know it's true and that's enough. And I'm going to go all in on affirming that, having confidence in that, believing in myself about that without having to explain, without having to justify, without tangling myself up into a pretzel to get you to agree with me. You, the royal you, right? Um, So I know that that's a real struggle for people. And, certainly a lot of the feedback that I've heard over the years when I talk to people about trying this concept and trying this very bold, very all in, very give it everything that you've got mentality about honoring your own true self, it's, oh my God, but like people are gonna be really mad. Like people are gonna be really upset if I don't engage with them in the same way that I used to, or if I don't care that they have an opinion about me. Like that doesn't really bother people. Like they don't know me to be that person. Um, and I'd like to say, oh, that's so fascinating. That's so interesting that they don't know you to be that person. And here you are being that person. And like, let's find out what happens next. And can you stay with you, David Goggins? Can you be all in on you? Can you give it everything you've got to stay with you, to stay with this new empowered, authentic version of you? Your life. No one else is to live it, right? We've talked about this in previous episodes. You got to be willing to be selfish, not hurtful to others, not unkind to others, but just all in on you, all empowered on you. Can you be willing to do that and have other people be upset? So I think it's very brave. And I have seen that the results of the people who do make that choice, the results of the people who say, I can sleep at night knowing who I am and what my truth is, even if you don't, are the one are the they're the power hitters in life. They're the ones who are safe wherever they go. Can you imagine not having to absorb the energies and the desires of everyone else, no matter where you are and whatever's happening? Can you imagine how peaceful that could be to confront yourself, call yourself out, know what's true for you, but not take on the stuff of others? It's very powerful stuff. Um, I have done that work. I have stood in the face of tremendous criticism and untruth and been willing to let them be wrong and not correct them and sleep okay at night. Sleep good. I actually sleep pretty good at night, I'll be honest. The work that has inspired this program, the work of authenticity, the work of empowerment, the work of truth and sense of self actually allows me to sleep great at night. And I want you all to have that too. Um, so I hope that there's a little bit of inspiration here and a little bit of, oh man, she's kind of hitting me with some hard assignments. Let them be wrong about me. Um, and just sit on it. Just allow the discomfort to be there. Allow yourself to be like, whoa, that's like really hard. I don't know if I could do it. And just sit with it. Just sit with it. Nothing's going to happen if you sit with it. You don't have to do what I'm saying. You totally don't have to do what I'm saying. These are opinions, these are suggestions. This is not medical advice, right? This is me sharing nuggets of my story, my experience as a professional, as a person, as a parent, as a midlife overwhelmed, hardworking gal who has figured out a couple hooks to grab onto that help get to the next step. So just consider it, just sit with it. What if you let them be wrong about you? What if you let them not know the truth? What if you keep your authentic self peaceful to you? This is what we're working on here. I'd love to know your thoughts. Shoot me an email, shoot me a DM. You know my feelings about Instagram. We've talked about it. theauthenticitymindset.com. That's where I'm at. Come join us. Take a look at the program. It's self-paced. You can go at your own rate. No one's trying to overwhelm you. And I'll see you next time. Bye. Thank you so much for listening. I hope you found something that feels right for you. Remember, while I am a psychotherapist, I am not your psychotherapist. So if you're looking for therapy, make sure you find a licensed mental health provider in your area. And I guess like and subscribe because that's what they do these days. We want more people involved, right? Go get it. See you next time.